The chicken nugget ambush, Tuesday morning, when I survived being lost and caught in a flap. Breakfast was terrible. Down at the canteen, Mad Dan stood in front of us all. "Ooh, survivors, who slept well?" Most people grumbled and groaned in response. Rosie Taylor was slumped face down on a table, enormous black glasses covering her eyes. "I smashed a great night's sleep in my shelter," Dan said. "Just the bats and the owls for company." "Amazing," sighed Miss Clegg. "Where'd you keep your clothes?" asked Fanya. "They look really clean and well ironed." She was right about this. His skin-tight polo shirt was completely immaculate. Mad Dan went a little bit red. He cleared his throat in an attempt to ignore her. "Moving on," he said. "Somehow 2 bags of chicken nuggets were left out of the freezer last night." Gamble inspected his shoes closely. "So," continued Mad Dan, "I'm afraid you'll all have to have them for breakfast before they go off." "Ooh," said everyone. "That's survival," said Mad Dan. "You do what needs to be done." "What will you be eating?" asked Fanya. "I feasted on nuts and berries from the forest floor this morning," replied Dan. Fanya twisted up her mouth. "That's funny. I went down to the games pitch to practice karate this morning, and I swear I saw your car parked outside the farmhouse." Miss Clegg glared at her. Mad Dan ground his teeth together. "I had business to take care of." "Like eating breakfast, perhaps," she said, trying to keep her face as innocent as possible. She muttered something underneath her breath before angrily serving up the chicken nuggets. "Oh, oi," hissed Gamble to Vanya. "Why'd you keep having a go at Mad Dan, you big crusty-nosed wipe?" "My dad said she'd always question stuff," shrugged Vanya. "Mad Dan reckons he lives in the wild, and I don't believe him, that's all." "Dunno why you want to be mates with her," said Gamble to me, standing up to go and collect his nuggets. "She's proper mental." Toddler tantrum. During breakfast, I managed to force down 3 nuggets. Gamble ate about 15 and put another 3 in his pocket. Most other people reluctantly nibbled a couple with their toast. Rosie Taylor didn't move. Her head rested on folded arms. After we'd all finished eating, Mr. Noblet tapped on the shoulder and asked if she'd mind slopping out the leftovers today. Rosie forced her head up and removed her sunglasses. Her black eye was enormous, and she looked terrible, all pale and blotchy. "Yes, I would." "Mind," she whispered hoarsely. "Get those atrocious rejects to do it." She waved her hand at me, Vanya and Gamble. "But everyone has to take a turn," pleaded Mr. Noblet. "I've told you," growled Rosie, getting steadily more annoyed. "I've not slept a wink, and I'm not doing it." "It's only a little job," said Mr. Noblet gently. "Kevin Harrison can help you." Everyone went insane at this, bouncing around like baboons. "Definitely," said Kevin Puclear Missile Harrison, leaping excitedly to his feet. This only made Rosie more angry. "Ugh, yuck, tabulous," she snarled. "I'd honestly rather sandpaper my tongue." Now," said Mr. Noblet, "I know you're upset, but let's value our classmates here." Rosie was having none of it, though. She was winding herself up into a full-on toddler tantrum. "I've got a black eye, a bruised neck, my hair looks like a bird's been living in it, my modelling career will be in tatters. This morning there was a mouse in my shower. A mouse! I'm having a mental breakdown. And all you care about is making me carry half-chewed food up a hill with the grand old puke of York. Well, you can stick your stupid residential." With that, she burst into tears and stormed off out of the canteen and back towards her tent. There was a mix of reactions from the group. Gamble thought it was, well, mega wicked, but most people looked shocked, or even like they felt sorry for her. A couple of girls ran after Rosie to make sure she was okay. Of course, I thought she was overreacting. Kevin was sitting alone on a bench. "She called me the grand old puke of York," he said sadly. I patted him on the shoulder as much as I dislike Rosie. I have to say this was a pretty awesome new nickname for him. I had to say something a bit nicer than this, though. "Have you ever thought about fancying someone else? You know, someone who's not a total idiot." "No, she's perfect," he said, staring into my eyes. "What can I do to make her like me, Raymond?" I'm not sure," I said. change absolutely everything about yourself, perhaps? What I couldn't understand was why would Kevin want Rosie to like him? She was so evil. Mad Dan clapped his hands together. He didn't seem to have any time for sympathy towards Rosie or Kevin. Like I've said before, only the strongest will survive. Let's hustle.